Hello and welcome back to This Spectred Isle, the series in which I tell maritime ghost stories from around the North Atlantic Islands. Today's story comes from the southern part of Ireland, a place called Ardmore Head, and transpires around the year 1900. A man named Jamsie Quain was digging potatoes in his field early in the year. It was a stormy day, and as he looked up and glanced out over the ocean, he saw that it was getting worse. The sea was rising, the waves were building, and then, to his surprise, he saw a boat. It looked like a ship's lifeboat, with roughly a dozen men at the oars and another steering, but no boat should have been out in weather like that. Quain ran to the Coast Guard station, where he spoke with an officer named Maurice Flynn, and told him that there was a boat in distress. Flynn returned with him to the cliff, but it was too steep for them to climb down and attempt a landing, and so instead they signalled to the men in the lifeboat, trying to tell them that help was on the way. The lifeboat only turned and started heading back out towards the open sea. Quain, Flynn, another Coast Guard officer named Pat Troy, and a small crew took out a Coast Guard boat and went off in hot pursuit, trying to render aid to the men in the lifeboat. The lifeboat simply continued to row away from them, leading the Coast Guard boat out from the shelter of the land and towards the fury of the storm. When they came within 200 yards of the boat, the Coast Guard tried signalling again, shouting and trying to offer whatever help they could, but there was no response. The crew of the lifeboat seemed neither to see nor hear them, and simply kept rowing out towards the open ocean. Finally, Flynn said, "Turn back, Quain, or we'll all be lost. You're following dead men." It was fortunate for all of them that Jamsie Quain took Maurice Flynn's advice that night, because as the Coast Guard boat returned to the shelter of the bay, they could see a wave sweeping past where they had been moments before and breaking over a nearby rock. The lifeboat was never seen again. According to the account of Quain's son, they found out some days later that a large vessel had been lost further out to sea about a week prior, but that appears to have been all the explanation that phantom boat ever got. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's ghost story. If you're interested in reading the original texts that I was drawing on, I've put the link to the Waterford Museum's website, which is where I first read about it, in the description below. I've also included the link to a project that I'm currently working on, the Ghost Ship Map of Newfoundland and Labrador, which uses materials from the Memorial University of Newfoundland Folklore and Language Archive to map out various ghost ship legends throughout the province. As well, I've put a link to my current podcast, The Deeps, which explores the ocean from a more scientific point of view. Thank you so much for joining me today, and please do come back for the next one.